why there is no campaign for someone to say, look, 50 years is enough?
But it is not true if there is nothing. I think the civil society has been talking about this for many years, yeah? Demanding that Papua should be opened. But as far as there is no change in the central government's policy, and as you know very well, this issue of Papua and the permission or permit for the journalists to come, it is very much controlled by BICE and BIN. They were the one really who determine who can come and who cannot come. Sometimes it is just quite, people jokingly said, how can you stop information to go out if since Kantor Pos, the post office, has its service called Wasantara.net. It died a long time ago, but the post office, Indonesian post office, was the one who introduced Wasantara.net when the internet was not really, even not done by the Telkom on the time. They were the one who introduced this for the first time. I still remember some of my journalist friends in Jayapura said that why Jayapura Wasantara.net was sort of came quite late compared to other cities in Indonesia, because the military apparatus on the time demanding that it should be stopped. But again, now you cannot stop anything. But I think this is typical of the how bureaucracy is run in Indonesia. Sometimes it is not based on the factual that you think in the field, as if they think by stopping the journalists to come, then the information will not go out. I think the Indonesian government has lost, or has somehow, make this very unreasonable reason, which stop the opportunity for themselves to allow other people to come to Papua and see progress that has been made. Who says that there is no progress in Papua? Progress are there. Maybe not as much as we want, but they are there. And as a part of the democratic society, then you stop the information, you stop people to come and observe by themselves. The first thing come to people's mind is you are trying to hide something. So yeah, I think that's basically the current situation.
With all of this isolation, with all of this restriction, with all of this distrust, how do you see the quality of journalism in Manokwari, in Jayapura?
Well, first of all, I should say that we are lucky to have some internet-based website that, from a point of view, have been maintained quite professionally by the Papuan journalists. Yeah? I would like to name a couple of them. Jubi is one of them. Jubi is Arrow, but also Jujur Bicara at the same time, an acronym for talking honestly. The other one is Suara Papua. Suara Papua is run by Okto Pogao. Okto Pogao, I think, is an exceptional guy. Maybe not many people understand that he has written columns in the local newspaper in Nigeria since he was in SMP, junior high school, meaning that he's only 14 years old. So I really hope that that guy will still continue with his formal education, because I also found that sometimes journalists tend to stop and do not, finish the university because of the work demand. Another one is, of course, Selangkah. But outside of that, unless they have connection with the big media, like Chepos, for instance. Chepos, I think, can exist like what they have today, or Sorong. There's a number of them in Sorong, in Timika, because they are part of the Jawa Pos empire. Other than that, there is none really that you can say they are putting quality type of parents. In Manokwari, in my home city, sometimes you don't know whether that really come from them or they come from the internet. Maybe 1 or 2 pages in the internet are local information, the rest just copy paste from the internet. And for me at the same time, it's also interesting that there is no punishment even come from AJI or come from Indonesian Journalist Association. It is not good for the development of the journalist itself. But I also understand that unless the journalists individually see this as their need to strive, need to empower themselves, need to develop themselves, it's very hard to really expect that because of the environment, they will be pushed to learn. At the moment, you go everywhere, people can just go and access the internet using mobile phone. Even as far as Papua, my university students, that's just what they do every day. Even to the extent where we lecturers have to be really be careful to know that if they submit their works, we have to check it in the internet whether that's really something they have done or they just copy and paste it from the internet, because they just come and practice everywhere. Even the lecturers also would do the same thing. So I believe you need really, Pa Andreas, to instill back the dignity of work as a journalist, a call to really partake in the betterment of the society. Another, I understand, issue also is that once you become a good journalist, you will have a really good offer from big companies. Some of the good journalists now working for Freeport, for instance, and that has been done for many years. There's a guy in Jayapura, I don't want to mention the name, but he was one of the backbone in a couple of the journalists, because he moved from one newspaper to another newspaper. He got an offer from Freeport. Well, if you got paid more than 20 million, why you should stay if only you can get about 1-point-something million if you work as a journalist? So it's also a challenge, for the industry. There's another female journalist. Unfortunately, he passed away, one of the rising star, working for Suara Pembaruan at that time. She was hired by BP. So there are 2 things that I found quite interesting in Papua: is a lawyer working for the human rights defenders, and journalists. Those are the 2 most precious species we have in Papua that we really have to.
Who work for the intelligence, who work for the military.
Well, yeah, that's what I understand as well. Well, just for instance, Cendrawasih Post was actually bought from the military, as far as I understand, because in the 70s the name was Cendrawasih. Is related to Kodam 17 Cendrawasih, the 17th command of Cendrawasih military. So yeah, it's that's the situation. And as I said again, I really hope that there will be more young people who would like to come and do the work. There has been some activities in Merauke, for instance. They called Bovendigul Post. It is 100% internet based, but later it sort of takes sides with who will become the regent on the area. So it is not really independent anymore.
Is there anything else that you want to say?
I beg pardon?
Ada hal lain yang...
Oh yeah, I would like to say this, but it is very important that efforts have to be done really to expose our young people in Papua so that they can see journalists as a profession that really would fulfill their... Let me put it this way. You talk about demonstration, there are many people out there. And to demonstrate, involve in action that would face the risk of being beaten, even being shot or killed, by military apparatus is not an easy thing. Okay, so determination is there. What you need to do really is to provide opportunity for these young people to involve in some type of training so that they can become journalists. In whole island of Papua, we have 3 state universities. Universitas Papua in Manokwari, Universitas Cendrawasih in Jayapura, Universitas something in Merauke. All state-owned, meaning they can run, they have money, but there is no journalism department that these students can come and learn. And I don't think there are many, I don't think also there are significant number of university professors, university lecturers who also, partake in journalism effort, like writing regularly to be published in the newspaper and so forth. Not many. So yeah, it has to be pushed. Yeah.